Now, first we get sex in the scripture as this soaring and this sailing, and now we get it contrasted with this sloppy eating. It's a huge shift in imagery and attitude. Sex is not wondrous and beautiful in this description. It's routine. It's an appetite that just needs to be filled. It's something that we consume and then justify. There's no wonder. It's turned wonder into a commodification. Now, you know, like commodification, it's this process by which social relationships sort of just turn into this economic exchange. It's a consumer-vendor relationship. If you think about it, it's kind of like this. It's the idea that the consumer will stick to the product as long as it comes at an acceptable expense or cost. You might know the grocer's name that you buy your groceries from, but as soon as he tampers with your product and the quality goes down or the price goes up too high, you're gone. You're out of that relationship. Commodification prioritizes the rights and needs over relationship with somebody else. Now, in the ancient world, there were very few constructs for this type of a relationship where you just had a goods and services, a consumer and a vendor. There weren't a lot of those. There were some, there weren't a lot. Most of the relationships in those days were social relationships. They were based on a commitment. It was sort of like if you bought grain from a particular family for generations and generations and generations, and a couple years the grain wasn't good, you didn't pack up your things and go to a different grain vendor. You were like, no, these are my people. These are my family. They're suffering, and so I will suffer with them. We will ride out this storm together. Because your relationship was based on more than just the product of grain. Now, sociologists say that a life filled with commitments that are relationship-based is like the most satisfying life. But a life that's filled with these consumer relationships, these commodified relationships, are really, really lonely. This isn't the Bible. This is sociologists. They say that oftentimes people are in these commodity relationships. They only stay as long as the product is good and the price is reasonable, but then they feel like they've been disappointed, they've been let go, they've been rejected because people just left. The product matters way more than the person, and in our world, in our culture right now, more and more and more of our relationships are becoming commodities, becoming based on these consumer-driven basis rather than this social relationship. And in so many ways, it's actually led to make the commodification of sex so easy. We've turned to sex as a product that can be given and received apart from the whole person. Scripture says, don't give the whole body without giving the whole self, and don't receive the whole body without giving the whole self, which means if you aren't in a committed marriage between two intimate best friends with the essential other, it turns sex from a radical, committed, deeply personal form of self-donation into just like buying groceries or a commodity or a consumption or a meal.